Welcome everyone to Latinas Front and Center. I am so happy to be here. I am Hady. I'm the founder and CEO of Boldly Speaking, an organization that's transforming the experience of women and people of color in the workplace. And I started Latinas Front and Center because I was tired of us being ignored and not being represented on stages, at conferences, at tables. Like, I'm just tired of it. And I'm like, you know what? If you're not going to invite us to the table, if you're not going to invite us to share our stories, then I'm going to create a space for us to share our own stories. And so that's why we're here. And I want to welcome to the show Victoria Jenn. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
I'm Yang. Thank you so much for having me. Super pumped.
Excellent. I think for some people, you don't need an introduction, but there might be una que otra persona that has never met you, or maybe just needs to learn a little bit more about all of the things that you're involved with. So do you mind just doing a quick intro and sharing a little bit about yourself with the audience?
Sure. So I'm a corporate hustler turned serial entrepreneur. So was in corporate for about 15 years, worked in consumer product goods, healthcare, Wall Street, and 7 years ago is when I decided to bet on myself and become a full-time entrepreneur. And right now, a big part of my business is focused on mindset and business coaching. So I work closely with women who are in corporate, the 9 to 5 grind, who are looking to transition to entrepreneurship, but stuck, unsure where exactly to start. But they definitely don't want to lose their financial security. And so I work closely with them to build their business as they're still working, so that once they're ready to say goodbye, they say goodbye and they never look back again. Yeah. I also have a successful podcast called Banking on Cultura, which focuses on the vibrancy and complexity of Latino culture, entrepreneurship, and all the bonchincha in between, all the tea, because we got to keep it edutaining. So there's education as well as entertainment on the show. In addition to that, I am a keynote speaker. I've been blessed enough to speak all around the world, specifically around mindset and emotional wellness. I'm most commonly known as the imposter syndrome killer because I focus a lot on confidence, eliminating self-doubt, removing your limiting beliefs, and just making sure you tap all the way in to your badassery.
Very nice. I think you're definitely someone that I would have wanted to have known or looked up to when I was coming up in my corporate life. You would have been such a nice person to have. So a generation of young ladies that have an opportunity to look up to you now are very lucky. I love that you talk about your empire. That's like, woo, muchacha. We don't talk like that a lot in the Latinx community about empires, but it reminds me a little bit of Gossip Girls and those like rich little kids. I'm like, they had their empires. I feel like that's what it reminds me of. But I feel like it is strong language, and language can be quite powerful. So I noticed that about you, that the words, it seems like you choose your words like very intentionally, and words can be quite powerful for shifting mindsets, like you said.
Mm-hmm. I try. I try my best. It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And also a lot of, mistakes made. And, just like with anything, you get better over time.
Amazing. And you've been doing this thing for a minute. You said 7 years, right? You've been in business for 7 years.
So I've been in business full time for 7 years, but have had a business for 10 years. So I actually started my business while I was still working and kind of tested out my first business at that time. I used to do interview training and resume reviews because my last corporate gig, I was doing talent management, I was doing university recruiting. So it was a skill set that came very easy to me. And people would ask me like, hey, can you look over my resume? Or, hey, can we do a mock interview together? And I was like, let me start charging folks for this. And they started paying me until my first business was born.
Wow. That's amazing. I love to hear that. Before we got on, we were talking a little bit about like, where you went to school, where you were raised. You're a New York City gal like me. You're a New Yorican like me. So we share that, which I love, and I'm loving your flag, your banderita behind you. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, your story, because we're here to hear the story specifically of Victoria Jenn. So where does your story begin?
Where does my story begin? So my dad's Boricua.
Oh,
My mother was Italian, Irish, and Polish. So grew up mixed, but definitely identified more with my Latinidad because shortly after my parents broke up, my dad started to raise me full time as a single dad. So it was him and I, and every summer he would send me to Puerto Rico and I would hang out with my aunts and my cousins. And so that's how I was really engraved in the culture and
yeah.
really started to build an appreciation for my roots and where I came from and really just own everything that comes with being a Latina and owning your cultura. And I think as a result of growing up that way and witnessing my dad do his thing and the sacrifices that he made, waking up with him at 4 o'clock and going to the restaurant with him. He used to manage a restaurant on Wall Street. So I always say like that foreshadowed my career because my first job out of school was on Wall Street and I studied finance and investments in college. So I feel like me growing up, like literally in the Wall Street district, was kind of just a foreshadowing of where I would land and where I would start my first career. And then from there on, I think I just continued to reinvent myself over and over and over again until I found a place that felt true to me, where I could have impact on my community and also make a shit ton of money.
Yes. So it's the both end in your case. You're looking to give back and make sure that you got your bag. And that's a theme I think that you really that's what you teach women, that that's something you can do. You it's not like one or the other, or these things are not mutually exclusive. You can be doing both things. I really like and appreciate that about your philosophy. Um, and I know your daddy's little girl, and I've heard the story about you going with your dad to the to his where he worked from your podcast. If anyone listens to Victoria Jenn's podcast, you know a little bit about how close she is with her father and some of those stories about when you were a little girl. I'm curious, talking about being a little girl and maybe interactions with your dad. Were there any dichos or refranes that came up often? You know, I have so many. My mom used to say so many. I remember when my sister, in my house, there's four of us. And so four girls. And so my mother would always say, Dime con quién anda y te diré quién eres. Like that was her favorite one. So it was like, I don't approve of your friend type of thing. Did your dad have a favorite that he would bring up from time to time that reminds you of that,
So
that
one
time?
that really stuck out for me was actually from my tío in Puerto Rico. So I used to stay at one of my favorite aunt's house every summer. And he used to always say, and he used to mess with me because I spoke Spanglish. Like I didn't grow up speaking the language fluently. So it was like ghetto Spanish. So they would make fun of me. And so one of the things he would say to like make fun of me is, si no le gusta, no te come. And
Oh, si
basically,
no te gusta, no te lo coma.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
But
I
he
know
would
that
say
one.
it that way, like the bad way, because he knew I couldn't say it
Yeah.
the
If
right
you don't
way,
want it, don't eat it.
yeah, the correct way. And really what that translated to me is like, hey, if you don't like something, don't pursue it. Don't
Yep.
consume it. Right? Don't be a part of it. Don't associate yourself with it. And
Yep.
that really has followed me, throughout my career and my life, professionally as well as personally.
That's so funny. You just took me back, Victoria
I
Jen.
took me
I
back.
I haven't heard that in a long time, but you brought me back. I'm like, oh my God, I totally remember people saying that in my orbit. I don't remember who said it, but I remember si no te gusta, no te lo coma was like a very common thing. And it wasn't, even though it's about food, like if you literally translate it, it's not about food. It's about, like you said, if you don't like something, then don't
Right.
be
Don't rock with it.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's about choice. That saying is about personal choice and empowering yourself to own your decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
How powerful. I love that. All right. Well,
What's up, mi gente? Are you looking for mentorship and the place to secure the big bag? Have you ever watched me here on the Banking on Cultura podcast and thought to yourself, you know what? I want to work with Victoria Jenn. Or maybe you thought to yourself, I want to be a part of her network of badass women and entrepreneurs. Well, guess what? You absolutely can. Join me this November, November 15th through the 16th in the heart of New York City for my 7th annual Secure the Big Bag and Wellness Summit. Let's face it, so many of us are tired, burnt out, ready to throw in the towel, honey, and quite frankly, we want to dedicate ourselves to the soft life. But what if there was a way for us to achieve both time and financial freedom and also have a healthy, well-balanced life? What if you could secure the big bag, build a business that fuels you versus drains you, as well as build a solid network of business besties who want to support and motivate you while also centering self? This summit is the premier destination for the latest marketing, sales, and AI tools that can 10x your business while also nurturing your well-being. Learn from top experts from both business and wellness, including executives from the corporate sector, so that you can explore corporate level opportunities that can elevate your business to new heights. Ensuring you're not just prepared, but fully equipped to dominate in 2025 and beyond. This is your opportunity for your business to thrive while you do too. Head over to securethebigbag.com to check out the agenda and all the heavy hitters that will be in the building. I cannot wait to see you in New York City, mi gente. It's go time.
I've enjoyed hearing about your early years, and I think we'll come back a little bit to your dad and some of your tios and tias and stuff. But I want to switch gears for a little bit, and I really want to give you some space to talk about current projects that you're working on that are like giving you life, that you're excited about, things that maybe the listeners may not know, maybe they've heard a little bit about but don't have a lot of details on. I want to give you some space to talk about them.
Yeah, I appreciate that. One of the beautiful things about entrepreneurship is you don't have to ask for permission to do what you want. You get to decide.
Yes.
And you also get to use yourself as a vessel to meet a need and to identify a need. And so I'm at this point in my life where I really want to focus on making the most money that I can. And I say that with a lot of, or actually I'll say that with no humbleness whatsoever. Like, I think women need to embrace talking and making money and not feeling guilty about it and not feeling like, oh my God, that's not cool to talk about, or it's not polite to reference money in that way. Like, no, let's own it. Like, we all want to live financially free. We all want to build legacy. We all want to have a fat bank account.
1,000%.
We want to take the trips. We want to have the bags. Like, we want to live a limitless life. Like, let's own that. And I think coupled with that is, at least for me, I'm in this kind of transitional state. I'm 41 years old. So my body is going through different transitions. My mind is going through different transitions. And a lot of women are, reinventing themselves at this age. They are thinking about what's next. They're thinking about legacy. They're thinking about health, right? Because things are coming up. And so what I decided to do, because I saw there was a lack of education in the marketplace, was create an event. It's called the Secure the Big Bag and Wellness Summit. And really what that event is focused on is helping women increase their income streams and really doubling down on tangible strategies that can help them make some more money, work more efficiently, work smarter instead of harder, and also have the impact, right, that we all desire to want to have, right, but don't know the how. And so we're going to cover the how and also cover the wellness component, right, which our community isn't really educated about perimenopause. We're not educated about infertility. We're not educated about postpartum, and we kind of experience these things in these silos, and we start to self-reflect and think like, what's wrong with me? Like, I can't talk about this. This is embarrassing, right? When in actuality, a lot of women are going through that same experience, but nobody's talking about it. And so as a result of nobody talking about it, there's a lack of education in the space. We start to internalize and we begin to have self-doubt. We don't show up in the same way anymore, which impacts our performance, right? Both at home and in the office. And so this event is a hybrid, the first of its kind, where we're talking about money and we're talking about wellness. So I'm really excited about that. That's going down November 15th through the 16th in New York City. For those who are interested, you can go to securethebigbag.com. I'm really excited about it. I'm bringing out my business besties, my mentors, people who have helped me shape my business model, who have helped me increase my income streams, who have helped me really prioritize and center my health. Like I'm bringing my nutritionist out who helped me lose 30 pounds. So it's going to be a whole vibe, and I'm really excited about it and think the community really needs it.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple things from what you said. One, when you were talking about that you're saying you want money and you're not gonna be humble about it. That reminded me of something Kamala Harris said in her recent podcast. I don't know if you heard the podcast that she was on with
The
G
daddy
Daddy.
one?
Yeah, she said that, like someone was saying like I guess I think it was Sarah Huckabee or somebody had called her out and was like, "Oh, Kamala doesn't have anybody keeping her humble," and she's like, "We ain't in the 1950s. Why are we trying to be
Right.
humble? Like
Exactly.
there's no need for that. We don't. There's a lot of women out here that don't aspire to be humble, nor should we be aspiring. So
Totally. That's
I
just
really
like
like
the
that.
patriarchy trying to tell us to like,
Yeah,
quieto,
See,
cógelo con take it easy, like stay in your place. Don't act up. Don't ruffle any feathers.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
time has gone. It has passed and it has gone, darling.
Yeah, so you made me think of that, and then you were talking about this whole health and wellness and how it relates to performance. And it's funny you say that. I'm kind of on the other end of that menopause journey, or yeah, I'm closer to the end of it, and I would say that it was really hard because, to your point, it's quite isolating. You're kind of like, your body for like 40, 45 years, and then all of a sudden you don't recognize what's happening to your body anymore. It happened to me. A lot of things got unregulated, dysregulated, and I just like I I'm one of those people that I want natural solutions. I don't want like medicine. So like everybody's trying to push medicine or hormones or this or that, which could be viable options for other people.
Right.
I wanted ways that I could do so in a natural way for me that I could sustain. And so, I also have been on a journey of health and wellness with like walking a lot, stretching, building my muscle, eating more plant-based and refined sugar-free foods, and just like there's a lot of things that I've changed up, and like my hair is growing back, praise the Lord, because I can't even imagine you with no hair. But that people used to say that about me. I had a lot of hair in my head, and they were like, I remember I would go to a Dominican salon and they were like, "Muchacha, you will never go bald." And sure, don't you know, during menopause my hair was falling in
Oh
clumps.
my God.
Clumps, and I was like, esa me dieron the evil eye, but gracias a Dios, things are more stable now, and that's a journey, and it can feel like it's a journey that you're going through by yourself. So how nice would it be to be having those conversations in community, and just having other people share like what they like. I'm happy to share my story, because like now I could tell you, now that I'm on the other side, I could talk about what happened the last 10 years, but it was not fun. That much I could tell you, it was not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having a space to talk about it is important. And also, women are going through perimenopause in like their 30s. Like it's not even a thing that you are waiting like until you're in your late 40s or 50s or 60s. Like it's starting to happen earlier and earlier for women, and they don't know the symptoms. And so they go to the doctor, and the doctor's misdiagnosing them. So now they're like on antidepressants and they're taking all these other things when the entire time they're in perimenopause, but they don't even know because they're not aware of the symptoms. So it's important for us to have these conversations in community, but also to just prepare ourselves and like be aware. And so that when it does happen and we're building our empires and we're going out there, we're killing it, that it doesn't like knock us completely off.
Yes.
Because we're prepared now, right? We have our tools, we have our resources, we're educated, and we're ready to like, weather the storm, whichever way it leads us, but it's also like scary. Like when I started hearing a lot about perimenopause, it started on Threads because I was seeing women share their stories, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have dry vagina. Like, what? I don't know if I'm ready for all of this. I'm gonna have an arm that's like falling asleep with cold shoulder. What the hell is that? Right? Like all these things. And it was like freaking me out. And I was like, oh, no. We need to have like a conversation. We need to prioritize health here, because we can't have this happen. So thank you for sharing so candidly.
I had that frozen shoulder. That happened to me. Y me vino de la noche al día. Mira que I was fine. And like the next day I was like my arm. I couldn't move it. I couldn't like put clothes on. I was like
Yeah.
stuck in one position. It was horrifying. That's like the only way to describe it. So, um, and I will tell you that in the end, like for me, like what happens is a lot of things happen in isolation, and then only looking back could you be like, oh, collectively those were symptoms of something bigger, but like you wouldn't know it as because the doctors always like kind of take it like one thing at a time, so they're seeing like what's happening in that moment, and they're not putting
Right.
together all the pieces. Um, well, thank you. I love that conference. Sounds like it's going to be fire, and it's going to be so educational and informative. Who's the target market? Like, is it for like business owners, business leaders?
Yeah.
Who do you
So
want to come?
aspiring and established entrepreneurs are in the building, as well as professionals. I mean, a lot of the conversation that we're going to be having is applicable to whether you're still in the corporate arena or you're not. But I think all of us are at this moment, at least for a lot of the women that I speak to, we're in this transition. We're trying to think about what's next, and we're not sure. And we're like, maybe entrepreneurship, maybe not. And so it's important to get yourself in these rooms so that you can get a feel for the vibe and talk to people who are actually doing it versus getting advice from your tia or your bestie who never started a business before, has no idea what to tell you. They're just talking
Yeah.
out, they're just pulling things out of a hat, but not really telling you anything that can add some real value. So get in the room where you can get some real value if this is an aspiration of yours. And if you've already started your business and you're like, thinking about going back to your 9 to 5 because you're like not making any money and you don't have any real consistent revenue come in, learn some strategy, right? To get that consistent revenue so that you can dominate in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, build that empire. Hashtag build that empire.
Yes.
Right, we on it. Listen, anything else that you have that you're excited to tackle next? What's next on the horizon? Because if I know you, you're brewing something for 2025. I know you. I know this summit ain't it for you. You're already looking at next year. What's in store? If you could share a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, so the summit is the yearly signature event. So that goes down every single year. One of the promises that I made myself was to be more intentional and focus. And when we're constantly launching something new, we're constantly doing something different, we're being pulled, right? And we're not really being focused. And so for me, it's very simple. Going into 2025, it's building the podcast, Banking on Cultura. We just hit 75,000 downloads, 80,000 views on YouTube, 11 million impressions on social media. So I'm just like, okay, we've been at this for a year. Let's go do it for another year. So just really continuing to build out and build our audience there, bring in the right sponsors and partners to help us grow and distribute what we're talking about on the podcast. Really doubling down on the Dare to Leap Academy, which is where I teach women how to transition out of corporate to entrepreneurship, really continuing to invite the right women into that program and help them build real businesses versus hobbies, and just getting their mindset right so they can get out of their own way. And continue to build out my partnerships with corporate. They hire me as a consultant, they hire me as a speaker to humanize their corporate culture and really get their employee base to feel good about themselves, which contributes to the bottom line. So that's it. That's the main focus.
Yeah, I like that message. I think that's so important because, and I could tell you from my own 18-month journey as an entrepreneur, boy, pivoting is very important. Knowing when to pivot is important, and knowing when to stay the course is equally as important. And it's sometimes it's not easy to tell the difference. But
Yeah.
like I feel like I've tried a couple things, and I think I would argue, or I would venture to guess that it's quite common in your first year or two that you got to keep like pivot a little bit here, okay, tweak it a little bit there, okay, come back to until you find like that sweet spot where it's like, okay, ahora sí, like I
Right.
got it,
Yeah.
so that resonated a lot with me, what you said about focus, because I feel like maybe I'm to the point where I'm ready to double click on the things that I'm doing, because I feel like I'm like in the right place now. But that it took time, se tomó mucho tiempo, so I
Of
appreciate
course.
that.
Yeah, I mean, in your first 2 years, it's very trial and error. It's very,
Yes.
okay, what's going to work, what's not working, what's bringing in business, but really paying attention to what is working and then doubling down on that is how you're going to grow and actually be able to scale. Like, do what's working. Don't try to do something new. Like, double down on what is working and then continue to build that up. And then when you build that up, you can go do something great. I mean, the beautiful thing about The Ambitious is we have amazing ideas. We're always ready to do something new. Like, we're executors, but then the curse is we're never satisfied. So even though we're like doing something amazing over here, oh no, we got to go over here because we're not satisfied doing just this. We have to like do this too. And sometimes it like bites us in our ass because we lose focus, and what we don't focus on doesn't grow right to its full potential. And so that's something that I've had to get a lot of discipline around because I'm very much a visionary. Like, I get bored fast. So I like doing something new. Like, I need to do something new or else I'm going to get bored. Right. But what I've learned through mentorship and through watching my bank account, that necessarily isn't always the smartest move, depending on what your goals are. Right. Like, if you're okay with where you are and what you're making and you're living la vida loca and you love it, cool, then that's your lane, stay in your lane. But depending on what your individual goals are, like for me, I envision myself 10xing a lot of things in my life, and that is going to require a new version of me, a new level of discipline, a new level of intentionality and focus in order to actually get there.
Yes. I heard something yesterday that I thought was really interesting that kind of reminded me of what you were talking about, which is men are taught to take risks, but women are taught to be perfect. And I feel like sometimes, like you said, we get in our own way with that because we get in our head and we start listening to these voices that are like, no, do this. No, that's not working, or maybe it's better this way, or whatever the case may be. I want to switch gears a little bit though, Victoria Jenn, and I want to talk a little bit about how you would describe your personal mission. Like, why are you on this earth?
Yeah. Wow. What a deep question, right? And I love, we have to always ask ourselves this question and like always check in, I think, because it changes like depending on your season. Right now, my personal mission is helping women become the badasses that they already are, super confident, own who they are, their cultura, their essence, their aura, all of it, and make as much money as possible while educating my community. Like, that really is my personal mission. That is what God continues to tell me that I need to show up and do every day. So I'm just listening. I'm surrendering. I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen. If this is the way you want me to go, I'm going to continue to do it. So that's my primary mission and personal goal. And I'll add on to that because I think that part of your personal mission needs to, of course, be about fulfillment and what are you doing for yourself, right? And so much of us think about personal missions as the impact we're having outside of ourselves versus within ourselves. And so in addition to all of that, another personal mission of mine is just continue to get deeper with myself, get more in tune with myself, and just love myself more and more every day.
Amen. I love that. We have one of our audience members shared. Her name is Diana. She comes a lot to these Latinas Front and Center. We love Diana. Hola, hermana. Otra boricua.
We also love Diana. She's a student inside the Dare to Leap Academy.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know Diana, and it's fun. She said she loves that, depending on the season, the mission changes. And so that's a valuable one. I had not really considered that, I feel like mine has been pretty locked in, but I love that because it I guess there's flexibility, things change, we change, circumstances change. So we got to be open to that. Entonces, Victoria Jenn, who inspires you? Porque tú eres una mujer, hecha y derecha. Who do you look up to? Who inspires you? Who motivates you? Who do you, I guess, aspire to be more like?
It's interesting. I was listening to a podcast the other day and there was a doctor and she was talking about like, I don't inspire to be like anybody else. I aspire to be like me. Like
Mhm.
I am my business my biggest inspiration. And
Mm.
I thought that was really valuable because so many of us are looking for like the outside validation. We're looking for the outside direction. We're looking for someone else to show us who we should be or what we should aspire to be. And while I think that it's important for us to have examples and mentors, we have to first like trust ourselves
Mhm.
and allow ourselves to be our biggest inspiration. And I think the way you do that is you produce and you like.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Ooh, this is really good. You should know about this. So I don't know about you, but I've been known to procrastinate, especially when things scare the hell out of me. The fear alone would have me stuck, overwhelmed, confused, and all types of self-doubt. And don't even get me started on the imposter syndrome. Okay. After getting laid off, not once, but 3 times, honey, I realized that the security blanket that I made up in my head was just an excuse because I didn't really want to bet on myself. The corporate benefits that had me in that headlock, girl, they went out the window once my job decided that they no longer needed me.
Turns out that I'll save a whole nickel if I cut your salary completely.
The truth is, the only security blanket guarantee is the one that you create for yourself. In other words, until you start a business, you will always be at the mercy of a company's headcount, and you will never have complete control over your time, which means you'll be renting out your thought leadership and helping build someone else's dream instead of your own. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Don't you think it's time you stop playing small and tap all the way into your power, sis? Click on the link above or below this video to learn my 3-step process, the exact 3 steps that I took to make the transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. And this is helpful even if you don't know what type of business to start and have only one source of income. And this is absolutely free. It is my gift to you. I want you to win. It's winning season. In fact, what's that? It smells like winning season. Okay, so tap in and I'll see you inside the training. Let's go.
Are proud of yourself because of what you're producing. And as a result, like you become your own inspiration. Like you're on your workout game, you're on your business game, your relationships personally are amazing. You're respecting the community. Like you're just so impressed with yourself because you're working so much on yourself that you become your own inspiration. So I think that was something that really landed with me and a
Yeah.
message that I want to continue to convey because I think it is a powerful message.
Yeah.
But with that said, I'm inspired by everything. Literally, like every day, I'm inspired by like, my dad who's 81 years old, who just came back from the Dominican Republic and living his life and just enjoying like the simple things in life. I get inspiration from people like you that are freaking like grinding it out and showing up and doing it scared every day and not giving up on themselves
Yeah.
and creating things and connecting with community. It doesn't take a lot to inspire me because I am just I'm a feeder off of energy and
Mhm.
a feeder off of people who are just doing dope shit. So if you're doing something dope, like I gravitate to that. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
like, that's inspiring. Like that's
Yeah.
cool. I want to emulate something like, but make it my own. So it really doesn't take a lot for me to be inspired. It could be something super small to something grand.
Thanks for bringing up your dad. I know you're daddy's little girl, and que Dios te lo bendiga because he is living his best life right now, and you're a big part of him being able to do that. So I know that's probably a big motivator for you to see him happy and be able to give to him. Yeah, and I wanted to share with you that I think your authenticity is very inspiring. You're very unapologetically who you are. You don't, you're not like trying to be somebody that you're not. You're super unapologetic, and I think to me, I like that. Like people who are genuine and who are not afraid to show up as who they really are. That's something that I gravitate towards. So I noticed that about you right away. And it's always been something that I've really appreciated about you, Victoria Jenn.
Thank
So,
you. And I want to shout out Aisha because the Dare to Leap Academy is in the building. Shout out to
oh,
you.
nice. I love that.
I love it. I want to say something about authenticity and living unapologetically because I think a lot of people, I spend a lot of time on building my personal brand and putting myself out there and sharing myself. And I think from the outside, people can make the assumption like, wow, like she's got it all together, or like she's figured it out, or like she's so bold and like amazing, and like, you know, that how does she do it? And I always like to show, like, even though you think I show up unapologetically and I'm showing up authentically, like there's still parts of me that like are nervous doing that, you know, and are like, is this gonna make a client walk away from me or come towards me? You know, like I think about those things. So,
Advocacy.
you know, so being authentic and operating in that space takes a level of like courage
I'm
and bravery.
1,000%.
So even though you might be like on the outside looking in, and we're on social media and we look at people and we think like, wow, they just have it all figured out and they just got it all together. Like, don't forget, like, they're nervous too, and they're scared too, and they're testing the waters too, and they're trying their best, like just like you. So don't discount the way you're showing up in the world as invaluable or insignificant. Like, all of us are on our individual paths and journeys, and all of us have magic to bring to the table. Some of us have found it, some of us are still figuring it out, some of our magic changes, right? Again, depending on the season. Like, I was way more bold when I first started. Now I've gotten a little bit more crisp and a little bit more. One of my mentors, she said, Victoria, you know, this is how I want you to think about your brand. Shout out to Pilar Avilar, one of my mentors for a long time. She was like, you know, Victoria, your brand, you need to come into the world as regal, darling. That is who you are, regal, right? You're not sexy.
That's a good word. That's a good description of you. I would say you nailed it, girl. That's a very good description.
That is a result of her telling me.
Yeah, that's that empire mindset. It's like, yeah,
regal, darling. That's how I need you to show up in the world. And I'm like, you know what? I like that.
shout out. God is right.
Regalness has that edge. It has that glimmer. It has that spark. You know what I mean? But there's a conservativeness to it. So I think I'm like stepping more into my regal era. But again, that comes with time. That comes with trial and error. That comes with me figuring out me and deciding how I want to show up in the world, the type of woman I want to be, the type of business I want to conduct, who I want in my community, who I want to do business with, right? That all, again, everything stems down to you taking the time and figuring out who the hell you are and why you are, because that will allow you to then curate a life that is yours, not an influencer's, not a politician's, not an executive's, but yours, right? And own it because it's yours.
Thank you. You have schooled us, and Pilar, wherever you are. Thank you for the suggestion. The Victoria Jenn is in her regal, living her regal era.
Yes.
And thanks for all the love out in our listener land. There's a lot of people out here. Hey, Corey and Aisha and Diana and everybody else who's listening. We appreciate you being here with us today. I have a couple more questions, and then we're going to do rapid fire.
Okay. Perfect.
So, what does being Latina mean to you, and what's your favorite part about being Latina?
Latina, to me, the first word that comes to mind is spice. That's the first word, and I know some people feel like that is like a shameful part of our Latinidad. I actually think it's the most beautiful part of our Latinidad, because who doesn't appreciate some spice, some excitement, some joy, something that's gonna get the people going? Like, who doesn't appreciate that? I love that about being Latina. I love that about our community, because we're not bland. We're vibrant. We're tasteful.
We're tasty. Yeah, I was at the same thing.
We are tasteful, okay? And I love that about our culture and our Latinidad.
That's great. Diana agrees. We are spicy.
Yes.
What do you hope your legacy will be?
You know, a peer of mine, a business bestie, asked me this question a few weeks in Atlanta, because she was challenging me. She was like, V, like, I was telling her how much I made, and she was like, why don't you want to make more? And I'm like, well, because I'm Gucci. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't got no needs. Like, I'm good. Retirement's good. Like, everything's good. And she's like, yeah, but beyond you, like, why you don't want to make more money? She kept challenging me. And she's like, well, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be? Because I don't have any children or
Yep.
anything like that. So, you know, a lot of people usually are building to leave something behind for their like children, right?
Mhm.
And then when she kept pressing me, it brought up my charter school. I have an all-girl charter school in the South Bronx that a mentor of mine, Shirley Rodriguez Romanesky, God bless her soul, brought me on after I graduated from college. He put me on the executive board, and I haven't left ever since. And we're doing amazing. It's an incredible school, dual language school. So the girls are learning in Spanish and English.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Is it in New Haven?
It is not too far from Mott Haven. It's right off the Grand Concourse,
Okay.
in the South Bronx. And when she was asking me about the legacy piece, I was like, you know what? I think that's it. Like, I think Shirley would love for me to focus on that. And I think helping young girls become the next leader of this world and this country is a huge responsibility. And when she was talking to me, I was like, that's it. That will be the legacy piece. So continue to build out the school, continue to impact more young lives and educate them and provide them with resources and tools and access so that they are set up for success regardless of where they come from.
I love that. Victoria Jenn, I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a community school director for an elementary school in the South Bronx for 3 years.
I did not know that.
So I know, I mean, it doesn't sound like it was exactly the same neighborhood, but I know the community. Like I know I know about how the South Bronx is and how they do. And please count me in for anything if you ever need anyone to support the work that you're doing there. I would love to contribute in any way that I can.
Oh, thank you so much. Girl, don't listen. One thing about me, you don't want to offer something to me because I'm gonna be like, hey, you remember?
That's fine. That's fine. I will pick up the phone. So that's one thing you should know about me is I won't say it unless I mean it. So I'll pick up the phone.
Thank you.
Let's end the main part of the interview with what advice would you have for your younger self? So as you think about those young girls in the Bronx and maybe the young girl that you were back in the day in Queens, what advice would you have for those young people?
To think bigger, dream bigger, and experience new things. Like, don't limit your experience. Like, go outside, go to someone's house, go in environments where you're the only one. Like, push yourself to go outside of your comfort zone.
I love that. And as someone who, after 20 years in corporate, I left and I was a missioner for 2 years. And I went to South America. I lived in Cochabamba, Bolivia for 2 years, and I worked with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women. And that was, I did that. And I agree with you. It's like, sometimes you need to shake things up a little bit and you need to do something different. And I always, for me, the experience of women of color is very central to my purpose. And so it was like a no-brainer to go down there and work with those women. And it was so much fun. I loved one day I'll tell you about my experience going to jail down there. It was really fun.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah. All right. So now we get to some fun questions. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire. So these are answer uno, dos, tres. All right. So what's your go-to hype song before a keynote or a big meeting?
Something Beyonce for sure.
Okay. If you could have dinner with any Latina icon, past or present, who would it be?
Jennifer Lopez.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I could see that. Y'all would come out of there with
I need to ask her some questions.
I bet. Yeah. All business related, I'm sure. What's one business tool or application that you absolutely cannot live without?
Slack.
Oh, interesting. I used to work for Slack. I was the head of equality at Slack. That was my last role. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Slack.
Excellent. And then if you could instantly master any new skill, skiing, biking, jumping off a plane, anything, any new skill, what would that skill be?
To stop being a fat ass.
That answer I was not expecting. I love it. All right. Well, that's
That is a skill, honey, for you to be able to control what you consume. That is a skill.
I love that. That's amazing. You know, yeah, real talk. I would love to have a conversation with you about that too, because I lost like probably 35 pounds from about 2 years ago, and yeah, it was.
For you.
Yeah, life changing maybe is a strong word, but it makes a difference. It makes a
Yeah.
difference. And so, and the discipline to keep, to sustain it is like, that's where, ooh,
Mhm.
that's the hard part. Okay.
That's the skill. That's the skill.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I say jokingly, like, but that's a skill that plays out in every facet of your life.
Yep.
That discipline,
Yep.
right? So
Amen. And I wondered if you had a question that I can answer for you. Doesn't have to be anything like super serious or hardcore. You could ask me if I prefer totones or maduros.
no, let's
Okay, you could get something more serious.
surface level stuff. When you were younger,
Okay.
where did you envision yourself being right now in your life?
What's up, mi gente? Are you looking for mentorship and the place to secure the big bag? Have you ever watched me here on the Banking on Cultura podcast and thought to yourself, you know what? I want to work with Victoria Jenn. Or maybe you thought to yourself, I want to be a part of her network of badass women and entrepreneurs. Well, guess what? You absolutely can. Join me this November 15th through the 16th in the heart of New York City for my 7th annual Secure the Big Bag and Wellness Summit. Let's face it, so many of us are tired, burnt out, ready to throw in the towel, honey, and quite frankly, we want to dedicate ourselves to the soft life. But what if there was a way for us to achieve both time and financial freedom and also have a healthy, well-balanced life? What if you could secure the big bag, build a business that fuels you versus drains you, as well as build a solid network of business besties who want to support and motivate you while also centering self? This summit is the premier destination for the latest marketing, sales, and AI tools that can 10x your business while also nurturing your well-being. Learn from top experts from both business and wellness, including executives from the corporate sector, so that you can explore corporate level opportunities that can elevate your business to new heights. Ensuring you're not just prepared, but fully equipped to dominate in 2025 and beyond. This is your opportunity for your business to thrive while you do too. Head over to securethebigbag.com to check out the agenda and all the heavy hitters that will be in the building. I cannot wait to see you in New York City, mi gente. It's go time.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like that question. Thank you for asking. I would say that I always felt like I needed to do something big and that something big was waiting for me. And and I will tell you, I spent about 30 years or 25 between 25 and 30 years in corporate, and I knew that that was not it. Like it was like, but where's that big thing that I thought was coming? Like where's the big thing I was promised? I don't feel it. I don't think I'm living the big thing. And I still don't know if I'm living the big thing, but I feel like I'm getting closer to it. Like I feel like there's a lot of stuff happening and unraveling, and a lot of it is like very related. It's about community building, about the next generation, about being there for my people and other women of color. Like I just feel like a lot of these things are very related, and it's like it feels like a snowball that's like just like rolling down and like gaining momentum and getting bigger. And I don't know. So we'll see where kind of things end up. I'm certainly not where I thought I was going to be. I never in 1,000 years thought I would start a business. So that's the first, thing that I didn't expect. And, it was a curveball of epic proportions. And here I am 18 months later. And, I'm leaning into it more. And, so we'll see where things go. But I feel like I always thought that I was going to have a big purpose. That's what I would say. Like I didn't know what it was, but I was like, this ain't it. This is not enough. Like I need more meat on the bone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I would describe it.
Yeah. I think like the big takeaway there is life be lifing. Like what you thought you were gonna do before is not necessarily what you were doing now. Like it's very few people who have it figured out at 5 and actually like become what they thought they were gonna be at 5. But it doesn't matter at any age. Like when you're 25, what you think is gonna be at 35, 45 more than likely is not going to be, right? Because you're making your pivots, you're making a U-turn here, you're making a left, oh, you're unsure about this. And to your
You
point,
get married, then you get divorced.
married, divorced, who knows, you might be interested now in a whole different gender. Like, you never know where your life will take
Nunca
you.
sabe.
The beautiful part is just going with it.
Yes, be open. And as they say, el hombre propone y Dios dispone. Like you make a plan and then God says, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Here's what's gonna happen. I have a bigger assignment for you. So ponte la bota and let's go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, listen, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I want to make sure everybody gets out of here on time. Victoria Jenn, where can people find you? Because you're everywhere. So where, tell us where we can find you. Tell us more. Give us that URL again for the website for the your event and anything else that you want to share with the audience.
Sure. So the event is securethebigbag.com. So super easy to remember, securethebigbag.com. And then on social media, you can find me at IAM Victoria Jenn, JENN. Pretty much all my social handles are that. And then LinkedIn, Victoria Jenn Rodriguez, and my podcast, Banking on Cultura.
Amazing. Well, thank you again for coming and being here, being a guest on Latinas Front and Center. We loved having you, or I loved having you. The we is me. I love having you, the proverbial us. And yes, thank you, Diana, Corey, Aisha, and everybody else who was out there today. We appreciate you being part of our community.
Yes.
Thanks for being through today. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you're gonna love the next one. So make sure to click right here and tap in to the next episode.